Okay. We are now live. I look forward to the YouTube notification telling me that my own channel is live. Thanks.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just hang out.
Hello. Oh my goodness.
Do you guys want to chat a little about what you're working on or what you're doing?
Sure. I'm working on the same thing I was working on last time because I got to a point in it where I ran out of yarn, which I knew was going to happen eventually because I did not have enough yarn. This is one of those projects that I was like, I'm trying to just use stuff that I already have.
Yes.
But I was like, I know that I have enough to get like 2/3 of the way through this.
Yeah.
So I truly today bought another ball of yarn to finish this. So, but this is the little hood that I'm working on. So now I have like the front, the back. I'm going like up the hood now.
Ooh.
And it has like a little, you can't really see, but in the front here where it opens, it like crosses over, kind of like how sweatshirts have that little bit that they cross over in the front.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm finally got my yarn. It's been a few weeks since I have worked on this, so I am trying to I'm like rereading the pattern, trying to remember like what am I doing?
Yeah.
Where am I at? What's happening? So, and I also realized that like, I have another project going, which is like color work and is more complicated, but they use so that I was like, oh, I won't work on that because I can't talk. I need to like count while I'm doing that. I've already made mistakes. But they use the same needle size, so I had to steal the needles from that one.
I do that so often. Like, even when I try and plan ahead, or even if it's like, I'll get a couple extra in this size because I'm always using this size. It, like, doesn't matter. I am always kidnapping.
Oh no, did she freeze?
Oh, Kara.
Come back.
Hopefully we don't get kicked off of her internet. It's going bad. You there?
That's true.
Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. I think.
I was like, are we all going to get kicked off or just you?
Yeah. I think I fixed what the problem was. Sorry. What were we talking about? Taking needles from our project.
Yeah. Also, these are 4mm needles, so like that's a pretty standard size for things.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to finish this soon so that I can actually wear it when it's cold out. Although it has been unseasonably warm recently, which is unfortunate.
Now remind me, this is like where it's like kind of like a cowl and a hood, right?
It's like yeah, well, it has essentially, it's like a little triangle in the front and back that go over your shoulders. Like, so it's just like, it's kind of like, you know what like a dickie is?
Yeah.
So kind of like a dickie with a hood.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Add a little extra warmth on top. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I have a winter coat that's like not my heaviest one, but it's like a light puffer that I really like, but it doesn't have a hood. And so like, oh, I could wear this with that coat to like add a hood to it.
Are you following a pattern or did you take this from something else? Like from...
No, I'm following a pattern. It's, what is it called? It's called the Hairstap hood.
Hairstap? I want to write this down. What is it? You said hair?
Hairst. So it's HAIRST. And then hap is a second word, just HAP, hood.
Okay. Yeah, it came up on Ravelry. Okay. Yeah, because my problem is that my big coat does have a hood, but I always end up taking it off because it just feels so bulky. And then there are days where I'm like, oh, I really should have like a hood right now, but I don't want to and I don't like to wear like a big, huge scarf. So I think that'd be fun to like have something I can
Yeah.
throw in, so I don't have to go find my hood and zip it in.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be nice.
Just whip a hood out of your purse or something. Like, I'm ready.
Ready for the
Yeah,
wind.
I could also imagine it could be nice, like depending on how cold it is where you are. If you have one of those coats that has like a really large hood, this could be like a layer underneath that's like closer to the body, and then you could have like the big poofy one over it, depending on like how cold is it.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely cold where I'm at.
Yeah. True. I'm making this out of alpaca, which like alpaca tends to be pretty warm also. Although apparently it does stretch quite a bit. So this might not keep its shape very well. We'll find out.
Well, what I'm doing is quilting or working on a quilt. I'm not like literally quilting at this moment. But basically, like what I've been doing is that back before I had kids, I had started a bunch of quilts and not finished them because then I had kids and then it was like they just sat. And so I'm pulling out these old projects that I probably stopped at some annoying part. And this one I definitely stopped. So this is the quilt pattern. And I did all the blocks, but I didn't cut out all those leaves because that's annoying. And so that's what I'm doing now. I just had to like attach the fusible stuff to the back of the fabric. And now I'm going to cut out 120 leaves.
Wow.
That's fun.
Yeah. That is exciting though, about like finally finishing projects you've had sitting around for a while. Like, that's what something I've been making a little more effort to do, and it does feel so good to like finally make progress on something like that. But
yeah,
it's also like you said, it's like when you're starting it, you're like, I remember why I didn't want to do this.
Yeah. But I'm like, I finished all the other stuff and I could just be like, oh, I'll just put a board on it and be done. But like, so I could have just done that. But no, I'm going to actually cut out the leaves and I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. It does look super pretty. So I think it is going to be beautiful when it's done.
Yeah. And at least I'm going to be machine appliquing them and not hand appliquing them on.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm putting the fusible stuff on. Like if I were hand appliquing 120 leaves, that would not happen.
That would be a lot.
Yeah, because then you have to turn it down and do all that. Like that's not happening. But with this, once I cut them all out, I just go on my machine and just like literally zigzag stitch around it. And that's it.
Nice.
So it should be not so bad once I get past this part. And this is kind of good to do while chatting, except for I realized I probably need a pen instead of this marker because it's too thick. So talk amongst yourself. I'm going to go get a pen.
Sounds good. Yeah, so I was saying just before we started that thankfully I am able to craft again, because anybody who was like hanging out with us in the last one, I mentioned that I had somehow hurt my hand, and specifically my thumb, which, you know, one of the more important fingers for sure. And so I wasn't able to craft or like do much of anything with that hand. So I don't know what happened, but whatever it is seems to be better now. So I'm gonna take it kind of easy, but I am crafting again, which is very exciting. And I'm just working on one of those like simple cotton dishcloths. I thought I would start with something that isn't like too labor intensive. Plus, my mom loves them, and she has been hinting at me. Not even hinting, she's been like telling me. She's like, I need more dishcloths. Like I'm running out. It's like eventually they wear out, you know? So it's a good way to sort of get back into crafting. Yeah. It's going to be like the most horrifying Frankenstein mishmash of colors though, because like you've mentioned, Huck, it's like I'm trying to use up some like scraps and things that I have, which is
Mm-hmm.
great, but none of the colors are gonna go together. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be a nice, a funky little dishcloth. Just it's gonna be about the practical aspect, not the cute.
It's got wabi sabi.
Yeah.
It's giving the old razzle dazzle.
It is. It really is. It's gonna try its darndest.
I do really like that. Like, I don't always like the look of garter stitch because it's so bumpy, but on this project, I do think it's cute. And also, it's so soft and so bouncy. Like, garter stitch feels nice.
It does. It feels very, very lush and cuddly.
Yeah. And it's nice that I don't have to purl.
Also nice. It's true.
Does it have a cord, or is it just a, you know what I mean? Like a cord?
There's an option to do a cord. I am not going to do it, but
okay. But you could, if you.
I think so. There is an option. I don't know if how functional the cord is, but it does have an option to attach a cord. So I'm not sure what it does.
Maybe it just looks pretty.
Yeah, I don't know if it's functional or decorative because I am not doing that, so I hadn't really looked into like how it's attached.
I have a pattern that I've been holding on to that I'm really excited to do at some point, and it's like a like hoodie top kind of thing. And I think if I choose my yarn carefully, I think it'll be something that I can wear for a decent part of the year. I mean, I say that, but I get overheat easily, so even if it's just like part of fall and all of winter, that'll be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking at some point of making like one of those, like a hoodie sweater. Yeah. Although I have such a long list of things that I want to do.
I know.
So, and like, I am knitting pretty consistently, but I'm not trying to like speed knit. Like, I've been seeing people post their like everything I knit in 2025. Yeah. And some people, I mean, good for them that they can get through that much stuff, but I'm just like, oh God, I'm not knitting like 20 sweaters in a year, you know?
Yeah. I'm not trying to recreate an entire wardrobe. Like,
yeah, like some of it's crazy.
I also don't know, like, where do you put all those? I mean, I guess maybe if you give someone's gifts, because I'm like, what do you do with all those sweaters if you make 20?
Yeah. Well, 20 might be a little, I don't know how many people are making, but it seems like a lot. I have heard some people have said that like at a certain point they will just like donate some of the sweaters because they're like, I don't really want it, I just wanted to make it, which I can understand. And then some people will do things. I know there are some people I follow online who like, they were saying over the holidays when they like go see their family, not even that they give them as gifts, they just bring a bunch of stuff and go like, take what you want.
Yeah. Wow.
So, people have their ways. And some people do genuinely want like their entire wardrobe to be something that's like handmade by that for them. So yeah. I am not that prolific in my knitting. But I do have lots of things that I want to make. So
Yep. Ever-growing list.
Oh yeah. And I go back and forth between like exactly TBK, to be knit. Yeah. I go back and forth between also like, do I want to do something that is more like plain and straightforward, or do I want to make something that's really like fancy, or do I want to do things that are more like cables and textures or color work or like, you know, I go back and forth between like, I don't know, because there's so many categories of things.
Yeah.
Also, I think that like in terms of like I've discovered I like doing color work, but I don't know if I would wear it as much because a lot of times I'm not really somebody who wears a lot of patterns or things that have like a design or a picture on them. And so I'm like, I like doing color work, but I'm not sure how much I would actually wear it. But then doing plain stockinette, like doing a solid color, is kind of boring. And I really like the look of like cables and different textured things, but I don't like doing them as much. I find them kind of annoying. So I don't know. Now I'm like,
for color work, have you thought about doing projects that aren't garments?
I don't really want anything else though.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know how to help then.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of even unusual that I'm like making this little hood, you know. I'm kind of doing this just because I needed a side project to work on while I'm also working on this larger sweater because I don't know if I told you that I'm knitting a sweater for my mom.
Yes, I
And
do
so
remember
like
you saying that.
yeah, so I finally got the yarn for it and I've been working on it and I had to like restart a couple times because it wasn't like the neckline was too big and then like I don't know, were things were going wrong with it. My tension was weird because this is only my second color work that I've done, so I was like, okay. And I probably am being a little more perfectionist about it than if I was just making it for myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so kind of the only reason I'm making this hood, I mean, I do want it, I will use it, but a lot of it is because I was like, I want to, what's like a project I can do that uses up yarn I already have that is very like easy, straightforward, so I can do it like in situations like this where I can't do color work while I'm talking to people.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of how that happened. I did recently crochet myself some little fingerless gloves because I have no idea what happened to my old fingerless gloves that I used to wear when I would walk Merlin. So I needed new ones. But I'm not usually big on like knitting accessories or other things.
Yeah. Well, and if you don't live in the climate too, I mean, I think I'm a little lucky that if I just want a little thing, I'm like, well, I live in a climate where I wear gloves, hat, buff, like all the time.
Yeah.
So at least, and scarves, like
it's a very knitter friendly place to live.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think I'm done like making I know like hats are a good way to test out techniques, but I'm like, how many hats can like one person own? I mean, this could donate them or whatever.
Yeah. That's part of why like when I was, you know, learning how to crochet, I made so many hats. And so then I was like, all right, I don't really want to do a lot of knit hats because I already have crochet hats.
Like I have hats for the rest of my life.
Well, I ended up like I gave away as many as I could and then I donated the rest because I made so many when I was crocheting.
Yeah.
However, there is a hat that I do want to make that I had bought yarn for a while ago. So I might do that. I was also thinking I might try, there are a few like headwear things. Like I was thinking of doing not a headband, but like one of those things that, you know, it's like a headband, but it covers your ears.
Yeah, like kind of an ear warmer.
Yeah, for walking Merlin, because sometimes a hat, where I'm at, like it gets cold, but it's like at a temperature where sometimes a hat can be too much, but my ears are cold, but the top of my head is not, you know? So I'm just like, That's the answer.
Yeah.
And then I also have thought about doing the Sophie hood, which is another, that's like a scarf with a hood instead of like just this little shoulder hood. And that is also in garter stitch, which would be fun. I've never done a petite knit pattern before, so
I don't think
might
I
be
have
interesting.
either, and she's like the she's the
Yeah,
it
yeah.
girl of like
Yeah, I think that for me, a lot of her stuff I mean, she does a lot of like very nice basics, but I'm like, that's not what I'm trying to do,
yeah.
Most of the time, I think, I've seen people talk online about how like there are kind of two different kind of attitudes towards towards like how, towards like knitting, especially if you knit a lot of like sweaters or garments, which I think applies to,
Excuse me.
bless you, a lot of different types of things where it's like there are the people who approach it going like, if I'm going to spend all of this like time and money, I want to make something that is a basic that I know goes with everything. I'm going to wear it all the time. And then there are the people who approach it as like, if I'm going to spend all this time and money, I want to make something unique that nobody else can have or make because it's so different.
That's what
And
I am for sure, is the
that's,
second kind.
yeah, I'm more on that side. Like, I like things that feel very wearable, but I'm like, the point of this is that I can't buy it in a store.
Yeah.
Like, if I wanted it to look like something I bought in a store, I would go buy it in a store.
Yeah.
um, yeah. So, yeah, I think I also land more on that side, but I think petite knit appeals very much to the people who are more like, I want something that looks store bought and is like a basic that I'll wear all the time, which makes sense as an approach, but it's just not really my thing, which might be why I've never tried one of her patterns. I really want to get into some patterns that are like even more, interesting and unique than things that I've done. I think last year I was doing a lot of like, I like a lot of the stuff that I made, but I was also, very much learning how to do stuff, and I'm still learning, but I feel like I'm at a point where I'm like, I could start doing things that are a little more interesting,
I really want to make a cape at some point. That is my
Ooh,
like
what do you
kind
mean by
of
a cape?
like medieval fantasy style, honestly.
Like how long?
Not that long, not that long, but I mean in the sense that I don't mean like a jacket that you can wear like a cape, and I don't mean like a poncho. I mean like an actual cape slash cloak situation. I don't
Okay.
know
Like
why.
knit?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
I know
Well,
it
that
might
could be heavy.
go horribly, but what's that, Kelly?
I said that could end up being heavy. I guess it depends on what.
Oh yeah, I would
You,
have to, I'm gonna do a very very light yarn for sure.
Well, I was gonna say that also seems like the kind of thing though that not that you would want to necessarily, but making something like that that's felted would probably.
That's true.
Mm.
I don't like how felting looks or feels.
Yeah, yeah. You also have to make it ginormous to felt it.
Right, right.
So that takes a lot of yarn and a lot of time, but it just seems like the type of garment that normally would be felted.
Yes, and when I've been looking, just sort of browsing absently for similar patterns, a lot of them are felted,
Mm-hmm.
but some of them aren't. And it's sort of like a someday project. Like, I don't know why I got this in my head, but like I think it was because there were a couple of years where my Halloween costume had some kind of cloak or cape, and I'm like, I like this. I want to wear something like this in regular life. So there you go. I don't know. It'll be an experiment for sure, but and also like because I mentioned I overheat super easily, and so it would be really nice to have something like that is so easy to take on or off.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I'm like trying really hard to fit 4 leaves on one thing. So some of my leaves will have a very creative shape.
That gives them personality.
Yeah.
One of the things I also really want to do is like more maybe like embellishment or something. Like
Mm,
I have some ideas. One for like some designs that I would want to do as like duplicate stitching,
yeah.
because there are things where I'm like, I don't necessarily want to go through the process of having to figure out how to like either do the color work, like the color work or like the intarsia or whatever to get this design on a sweater, but I could just knit a sweater and then duplicate stitch a design on it.
Yeah.
Um, and I also would love to do some more like do like embroidery on knitting. Because
Mm,
I always see these ones where they're like embroidering with yarn. So it's kind of like bulkier than regular embroidery and it shows up on the knit. And I'm like, that looks so cool. I really want to do that. Um, and that way also you can like knit something pretty plain and then embroider on top of it. And then you still get something that's like cool looking.
yeah. That does sound cool.
Or like there are some things also where it's like, oh, I could incorporate some crochet into this to like add a little flair, you know?
Yeah.
So
It's kind of
I
arty
think
and
that's
fun.
cool. What was
yeah,
that?
I just want
I was just saying, it sounds artsy and fun. Like, make it
Yeah.
your own and add a little
Yeah.
flair to it.
yeah.
I don't usually like mix crafts, and I guess because most of my hobbies aren't really in, I don't know, the same category. Like I don't sew or crochet, so there's not a lot of overlap. But I always think it's really cool when people combine disciplines like that.
Yeah, I feel like I mean if you wanted to, I think that both of those are things that wouldn't be hard to pick up if you wanted. But yeah, I mean like I've done both of those, so it wouldn't be hard to incorporate. That is a thing though that I have noticed in like because I, follow a bunch of knitting accounts and stuff. And it's like, it seems to me a lot of people who knit are so like dead set against any other like any other thing and
Mm,
like especially anything that involves sewing and like they're so against even having to weave in ends but also like having to sew together pieces if there's like seaming for a sweater or something like
hmm.
anything that is not pure knitting, they act like they're dying. And
Yeah.
it's like, what is happening?
That is honestly a very fair assessment. I actually don't mind weaving in ends, especially since I finally learned a way to do it that I don't hate. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but I definitely know what you mean about it's like people will want like a pattern. And I get this, like there are definitely times where it's like I want minimal finishing. Like I really want to do the knitting part. I don't want to have to put everything together at the end. So I get
Mhm.
that. But like sometimes it will feel like people are looking for something that is just so unreasonable. They're like, I want this incredibly complex multi-piece outfit, but I don't want to connect anything. And I'm like, I don't think you could do that. Like I just don't think that's I don't think
Yeah.
that's like a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I can understand some extent, like, obviously, I mean, to me, it doesn't bother me so much because I'm coming from, like, I've been sewing for, I don't know, like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And doing and crocheting for like 10 years. And so like having to do those doesn't bother me because I'm just like, yeah, I do this all the time. And honestly, sewing for knits like this is so much easier than sewing on fabric because like the stitches are bigger, the yarn and the needles are bigger. You barely even
Yes.
see it. It just gets lost in the sauce, like in the
Yeah,
texture of the knitting. like um but yeah, it really doesn't bother me, but that's also because I'm like, I I'm coming from doing that. So yeah.
Yeah.
And also that is like you were talking about doing like finishing.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a point in my sewing that I was much more like anti doing finishing and
Yeah.
very like sewing things in a way that looked good on the outside but was very slapdash on the inside because I was like, well, you can't see it, so it doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I got to a point where those pieces that I had made like aged and aged badly because they weren't finished well.
Yeah.
And I started making, and also I started making more clothes that were like things that I would wear in real life, not just like costumes. And so then I wanted them to look more finished.
Yeah.
And I was going to be wearing and washing them more frequently. It wasn't like I would wear them once a year to a Renaissance festival. And so they also needed to like hold up better. And so I went through a whole thing of getting much more into like finishing things, but not like I'm not amazing at it, but putting a lot more work into like adding lining, doing, you know,
Yes.
felled seams or French seams, like things that like make it won't fray, and like really putting those finishing elements in that make things both look more polished and more structurally sound over time. And
Yeah.
so I think that that kind of shifted some of my perspective on making things because I went through that phase for sewing of like how like really caring about the finishing.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that I am kind of like, well, what do you mean I have to do something other than knitting? The only thing that I'm kind of like that with is I feel like a lot of patterns assume that everybody can crochet. Like that if you're knitting something, then you have like some basic to intermediate like crochet skills. And I'm like, and I'm stubborn about it because like it would not be hard to just like I imagine learn the basics, you know, or like how to do just the
Crochets.
most minimal kinds of like crochet that you would need for knitting. But for whatever reason, I'm being really stubborn about it. And I'm like, there has to be a way to do this that I already can do. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you wanted to, crochet, I think is much easier to learn
Mm-hmm.
than knitting. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
because
Maybe
it's
that's part
very
of why. Maybe that's part of why I'm like, no, I learned all these complicated knitting things. This should be enough. Like,
yeah, yeah. Crochet is much more like I don't know. I feel like it's like more straightforward and like easy to understand kind of what are you doing because it's
yeah.
more like working with like blocks, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where because you just are adding be like, "Oh, well I want a stitch here, so I'll just add a stitch." Like it takes less like I feel like it takes less planning and like maybe that's not exactly fair, but it's easier to kind of like wing it also.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also easier to rip back and do things because you're not going to like drop all of your stitches since it goes
That's
one
true.
stitch at a time.
Yeah, that would be really nice, honestly. Like, maybe that's what's gonna convince me in the end. Just like,
Yeah, yeah. There are some patterns that I really want to make, some like sweater patterns that have like little crochet details that you add to them, which I'm like, that is so cute, and I definitely want to do those.
yeah.
Because yeah, sometimes they're really. I was thinking about that also. Like I've seen some, and sometimes I also am just like, well, I could probably do this. Like I already know how to do something like this in crochet. I could just do it instead of knitting it. Because
Yeah.
like I have seen some shirts where it's like a knit shirt where it has like a little lacy part around the collar, and like
Hmm.
it. I guess this pattern teaches you how to knit that, and I'm like. I also know how to do a scalloped edge in crochet. I could just do that.
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
You're like,
yeah.
I could just do it my way and be done. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Also, like when I crocheted those little fingerless gloves for myself, I was just like, oh my God, I forgot how fast crochet is. Granted, I mean, gloves are small, but still, like, I was like,
mhm.
this is, if I had tried to knit these exact same things, it would have taken me so much longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like kind of the mindless, I don't know. Crochet can be as complicated as knitting can be depending on what you're doing, but I like the mindless nature of some of it if it's like a simple piece, which right now I don't really need a blanket because I quilt, but I'm crocheting an Afghan because I needed something in the winter for when I listen to audiobooks that doesn't require counting.
Yeah.
Like do with knitting. I just want to, and you can do fancier crochet, like make more lacy things, but it doesn't require like counting. You're just doing the same, yarn over or whatever all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I do find knitting more soothing though. Like when people talk about like having like fiber crafts that are like the repetitive motion is soothing, and like crochet has repetitive motion that you're doing with yarn as well, but something about knitting I find more soothing.
Makes sense to me.
Could also just be though that when I was doing a lot of crochet, I was at a point in my life that I was less stressed than I am now. So there's also that.
Hi, Natalie. Hello, hello.
Hey.
She says it's gonna happen. I'm gonna craft during crafting sprints.
Woo!
Let us know what you're crafting. That's very exciting. I mentioned at the beginning, I'm excited to be crafting again too, because whatever mystery ailment was going on with my hand seems to be better. So excited about that. Oh, cool. I am making collages as a gift. That's really cool.
Nice.
Are they like paper collages or fabric collages or what?
What is your medium?
I usually assume collage is paper, but that's true. You could use other materials.
Or like mixed media or something. It's perfect because I really need to work on these and needed a motivation. Yes, we are familiar. Kelly was telling us how that's like the majority of what you're working on right now, right? Something that you needed extra motivation for.
Yeah.
Because it's like a zillion leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I also, not exactly that I need motivation, but I am happy to have like time dedicated to working on this, because since I'm like the main thing I'm knitting is the sweater for my mom, and so if I have knitting time, I feel like I should be working on that, but I can't work on that while we're doing this because I can't talk and do it at the same time. So I'm like, oh good, I'll actually make some progress on this and it won't just like die. It won't just like disappear, you know?
Right. Languish in the swamp of forgotten projects or something.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience. All paper and maybe some paint. I actually thought about using fabric, but not this time. I think I am going to incorporate fabric in some future ones. That's very cool. I don't know if you're like planning to share pictures like on Instagram or something, or maybe you can't because of who you're gifting it to, but if you do decide to share pictures, I'm excited to see what they look like.
For like over Christmas break, the holiday break, we don't go anywhere. We've said a long time ago that we're not traveling because we're the ones with the kids and our family can come to us because they don't. But then nobody does. So then,
honestly, sometimes that's nice. Like,
yeah, or at least my family. Like my parents just don't like to travel when there's like a possibility of snow because they live in the South now. And my brother usually works a lot over the holidays because since he doesn't have kids, he often takes the holidays so that other people can be
really nice. That's really sweet.
Yeah. So he works a lot, so he doesn't come at Christmas. So, but my husband's family lives in town. So we did a lot of stuff. And then they had a lot of like my nephews were in town and they had a lot of friends visiting. And so we did like a craft night. And it was like so much fun because not every, I've done craft nights with like my sister-in-law, knitting, but this was like everyone. and people are visiting. So people had all different crafts. Like this one guy brought like a bunch of clay and like made clay animals and earrings with like my daughters. He's a teacher and he was just so sweet. He's like, yeah, I'll share with them and I'll do it with them. I'm like, okay. And then like another lady brought like felt and was making little ornaments where she was putting on them and like felting them into different shapes. And yeah, and then some knitters, and it was just like really cool to like have just some random people over, just everybody brought a craft to do.
Yeah, that's just cool.
Yeah.
I've been trying to convince my mom she should get into knitting.
You should tell her that her alter ego knits. Like your mom and I are have like identical tastes in a lot of things. Just saying, if she needs extra motivation.
Yeah. She is hard to convince to do stuff like this. It's one of the things where I think that she actually could, but I think she's very convinced that she's not like not creative in that way. Like she does other like she's very into like music, but not like why can't like crafts, I guess.
Like handicraft type things.
Yeah. And I think that she could, she just won't. And I'm like, Mom, you should do it. And she's like, no, all of that kind of thing skipped a generation, because her mom like sewed and knitted and crocheted and did and like needlepoint and like everything, you know. And she was like, it skipped a generation, you got all of it. I was like, I don't think that's how it works, Mom.
Yeah, it sounds like an excuse, but you know.
Yeah, I think
like
it would
the fates have
spoken.
Her. I can never I am forbidden from crafting.
Yeah, I think it would be good for her to have like a soothing like handicraft that she does, you know. Honestly though, like anytime she does craft, it always turns out well, but it is very like she only does it when it is for somebody else. So, and I'm like, you could knit gifts for people.
Right.
Or you could donate them to like the local shelter or whatever.
Right. Or like there's with the Linus Project. Do you know that one?
I don't know if I know that one.
It's this project where you make blankets and then they donate those blankets to, I think, like kids who need them. And so it's after Linus from Peanuts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I've seen a few like shelters or organizations talk about like share information on like if you want to make something, this is the kind of thing you should make. And like they talk about how much it means for people to have something that is made by hand. And it's like, yeah, that is true. Like obviously giving anything is important, but that must feel even more I don't know, connecting, like to have like especially for like if it's one of the ones for kids around the holidays or something, it's like getting a gift is just exciting anyway, but knowing that like a stranger made that for you specifically, like that's really cool. So
yeah anyway, so I'm always trying to convince her that she should do some kind of crafty project. Yeah. My dad has gotten back into some of his stuff. He has gotten back into doing pottery, which is cool because he did pottery like when I was growing up. He had a pottery wheel in the basement and like would like make stuff, and then he fell out of it for a long time, but he started getting back into it recently, which is cool.
Yeah.
I've also been hounding him for a long time. Like, you need a hobby that's like, he also he plays music a lot, but I'm like, you need another hobby.
I feel like you are just the hobby fairy for like various people in your life. It's like, you know what would be great?
Yeah.
I kind of do that too, though.
I think it's very good for people to have a creative outlet. And I also don't believe in like people being like, "Oh, I'm not creative. I can't do that." I'm like, untrue. Just categorically untrue. Just do it. I don't believe
Yep.
you.
And
And also,
creativity requires practice too. I mean,
right.
yeah.
It's both. I think that it's just part of the nature of like the human experience to be creative and to want to make things, but also it's like, one, you don't have to be good at things right away, and I think that's a problem that a lot of people have, is like wanting, feeling like they have to be good at something, or that something has to have some like monetary purpose in order to be worth doing. And yeah, and it does take practice.
And especially like adults who like my kids can, they might not, you know, obviously they're not like instantly good at something, but because they are already like in that imagination zone, it's like they can pick up something and like think creatively. But as adults, sometimes we've lost a little bit of that, so then it does feel like, oh, I'm not good at it. It's like, no, you just need to like practice being creative. Like,
Yeah.
I think like as adults it's very easy for us to get stuck with an image of ourselves, like, oh, I'm not someone who blank, or like I'm not creative, I'm not good at like certain things like this. And yeah, like you're saying, Kelly, I think kids have so much less of that, you know, like their sense of self is much more flexible, I feel like. And I think that's a really good thing. Like I think we should, like, I remember for the longest time believing wholeheartedly that I was just not creative and not artistic, because I always thought of artistic as like the kids in school who were really good at drawing, you know? And that's not all it is. And I like, that's something that I could have realized earlier, but you know, better late than never.
Yeah.
I picked a craft or a project today that is just covering me with fluff.
Always good.
I was like, oh, probably should have worn something that would easier get the fluff off. Did you get Drop of Corruption back, or are you still waiting?
Oh, I haven't gotten it back. I also feel like at this point I might wait until a little bit later to read it. When is the next book coming out?
I don't know. Is there going to be a 2026?
There's going to be a, yeah.
Let me see. I'm not great at like looking up new books. I'm just like, nowadays I'm like, oh, just surprise, there it is.
Yeah. Same. I've been like so out of the loop that it's like, even a favorite author, like I'll miss that they had a book that already came out, and I'm like, oh, this is an amazing surprise, but also I'm such a fake fan. Like,
so there is the third one is A Trade of Blood, coming out in August.
So you have time.
Yeah, I might read it a little closer to that. Now, at this point, I feel like it's taken so long, I might just wait a little bit.
Yeah.
I think actually, speaking of favorite authors, I think that Frances Harding might have a new book coming out.
I think I saw that too.
Okay. I
like
wasn't sure if you had seen it.
Or one of her shorter ones.
I don't remember.
I thought it was a longer one, but let me ask the Google.
There wasn't a lot of info about it.
Because I know for like a couple years she was doing those like shorter ones.
Right.
But
I thought this one looked more like a novel, but Let me confirm
Yeah,
that.
it had something about moving castles.
Cool.
Trader's Nest, coming out in April. No cover yet.
Happy birthday to me.
There you go.
It says young adult fantasy.
Yeah, 416 pages, so it's more of a novel.
Yeah.
Is it coming out just in the UK though in April? I guess you could order it from.
I
That's a
probably
good
will
question.
because I probably
A lot of
will
times
because they have
also,
paperbacks.
yeah, they also tend to have the better cover design. She a lot of
Really
times
do.
has different cover designs, and some of them are terrible.
I know. And like the fact
Um,
that for a lot of the American covers, they even like changed the titles, at least for her older ones. They
yeah,
thankfully stopped doing that, but like the new titles are terrible too.
yeah.
Yeah, what is that one that is called it's called Well Wished or something in America, but
Yeah, and it's Verdigris Deep
yeah.
is the
I'm
actual
like,
title, which I think
Well
is
Wished.
so much right. Right. Like I think it's so much better and I think it's such a better representation of the vibe of the book.
Mm.
Did they think people didn't know what like verdigris meant?
I don't know. They're like stupid Americans won't know. They can't look up a word. Natalie said, yeah, for me, I think I got stuck with I'm a words person, not a visual arts person. So doing any visual art feels revelatory. Yes. I agree.
Yeah. Which I can get that. I mean, I always say that like I'm more of a talker than a writer, which is why I started a YouTube channel instead of writing reviews. And so I certainly have like a self concept of like I'm not great at writing, you know.
But as we've discussed, self concepts can be very wrong and very
true.
limiting.
I always wanted to be more into writing because I always have like ideas for stories, but you know, ideas can be a dime a dozen. If you can't actually write them, it doesn't do a whole lot. So
yeah, I feel you. I'm in that boat too. Every once in a while I get.
Yeah.
Speaking of releases and such, what have you guys been reading? Kelly, I did actually read 2 of the books that I plan to read for Short Stack, so I'm already feeling good about that.
Look at you accomplishing things.
Yeah. And one of them was The Service Berry, which was lovely and a great way to start the year, honestly. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And I was like pleasantly surprised at how practical some of it was. Like, I don't know, like it is like an essay about like concepts and things like that, but she also like answers some of the practical questions where she's like, you know, when people talk about gift economies, a lot of times the question is like, well, how do we scale this up? Or like, what can we do about that on like a larger scale? And so I like that she answered that. And she was even like, maybe scaling up isn't even the answer. Like, maybe that's not the question we need to ask. It's like, how can we have gift economies running alongside market capitalism? Because I appreciate that she was very realistically like, capitalism's not going anywhere soon. So we need to kind of like think around it.
Yeah. And part of gift economy is to be doing it with your community. Like that's kind of part of the point.
Right.
That it is like, and I hear that a lot. Like I feel like this area we are trying to approach that, not quite succeeding yet, but I hear a lot of people being like, okay, my neighbor has a snowblower. Couldn't I just borrow the snowblower as opposed to buy a snowblower? You know,
right.
And more of that, like, if one person on the block owns this bigger tool, we don't need to buy the tool. We just need to borrow the tool and like be more of a community. And that is like on a real small scale. Like, but that would make a big impact of like, not everybody in your like suburban street needs to own a lawnmower. Like,
right.
Think about how many less lawnmowers there would be if we all just shared them.
Yeah. And like no matter like obviously there are some neighborhoods and situations that lend themselves much more easily to like community economies and gift economies. But like accounting for that, it's still true that everybody has a smaller community that they live in, you know, like
Mhm.
it doesn't necessarily need to be something that you scale up to be like an entire state or something,
Yeah.
because if you have everybody involved in their smaller communities, by definition you're covering the whole state, you know, or you're covering like the whole country. Like I'm not saying that would still be easy, but it is possible.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna tell you, I was looking at my work email because I know I had saw her name pop up. Um, she because we have a chapter of it's called Wild Ones. It's like an organization that is trying to rewild areas, get rid of invasive plants, stuff like that. And they are advertising that Robin Wall Kimmerer is doing a what's it called? A webinar. So I can send you the link. It's on
Yeah,
January 21st.
that would be awesome actually.
It's called Intergenerational Care for Land and Community.
Very cool.
So that's kind of sounds like,
Yeah, perfect.
community doing things together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I the thing with short stack readathon that I feel like happens to me every year, I get so excited about doing small things that I start all the small things
Yeah.
instead of just like finishing a book a day, or it doesn't have to be a book, but you know, like instead of, I could just like finish a play today or finish like some poetry or whatever. But no, I just like start all the things.
Yeah.
And so I am reading a lot of things, but I am starting like I'm in the middle of a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I
I
get
like
that.
started
Well,
a story collection, started a couple novellas, yeah.
yeah. And I'm also trying to like I'm fitting in short things where I can, but I'm also still reading Vanity Fair, which is not short. It's like
Yeah.
a zillion pages. Um and so that is where like if I'm like, "Oh, I should read something or I want to read something." It's like that's what I should be reading. So it's not bad.
Okay.
It's just
Hold on.
it's so long. It's so long and it doesn't need to be. Alas. How has your reading been going?
It's been all right. I haven't finished anything yet this year. I am doing a very slow reread of Child of the Prophecy by Juliet
Mm.
Marillier. So I'm just sort of slowly working my way through that. I'm reading a bunch of different things, though. So yeah, I'm reading that. I am listening to The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen. And that's going pretty good. I don't think I like it as much as uh, Little Thieves, but like it's fine. It's fun, you know.
Yeah.
And then I also am listening to a nonfiction, um, which is Something in the Woods Loves You, which honestly I kind of picked up just because I like the title. And
That's
then
a
like,
great title. That was my first thought. I
Is
was
it
like, wow.
a nature book? Like what?
it is actually like more of a memoir of a person that I was like, I have no idea who this is. And so I was a little bit like, what? I don't even read memoirs. I don't particularly like them. And so I was like, maybe a weird choice to pick up a memoir from a person I don't even know who they are. But so far I'm really liking it. So the person who wrote it is I think he does a bunch of different stuff, but he's a poet is one of his things. And a lot of it is really about, he talks a lot about that he is like going through really bad depression and even having some like thoughts of suicide and stuff. And he used to work in academia. He left his job for a while and trying to kind of recapture like the will to live essentially,
Mm,
and how reconnecting with his love of nature from childhood helped him to do that. And
mhm.
he's just, he is writing in a way that like is very poetic because he is a poet, and using a lot of like nature metaphors to talk about um, finding meaning in life and in nature. And so far I'm really liking it. Like I'm surprised because I don't really like memoirs that much.
Maybe
But
maybe part of
yeah.
it is that you don't know him. Like it's not like a celebrity or something, like
Yeah, yeah. I
so it
think a
feels
lot of
more
it also,
unexpected.
yeah, I also just I think I like his writing. I
Yeah.
something I had been thinking about is that I was talking to a friend of mine recently and realized that I was like, I used to read a lot more nonfiction and a lot more poetry. Like, not a ton, but I would read like a few a year. And then I kind of fell out of it, especially because a lot of times when I read nonfiction, it was like when I was commuting, and I haven't commuted in like
Mhm.
5 years. So
Yeah.
I stopped doing that. And so I was like, you know what, this year I want to try like listen to more nonfiction, read more poetry. Not I don't have to do a ton, but just like a little bit more than I have been.
Yeah.
But now, I think I might try to get my hands on some of his poetry because I enjoy his writing, and so much of it feels almost like a part of a poem.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I'm listening to it when I walk Merlin.
Nice. Very cool. Do we want to do one of our sprint breaks?
I was just gonna say because actually I need to feed Merlin, so
Perfect. I need to feed myself, so that works
I
out
wouldn't mind
well.
getting a drink anyway.
Yeah. Should we Is 45 minutes too long?
Um,
Let's do half
that's
an hour.
half an hour seems good, unless you feel like I don't want you to feel rushed eating. If you feel like you need more time, but half an hour feels good to me.
Okay, I think that should be okay. And if I'm a couple minutes late, sorry.
All right.
I should be fine though. Okay,
Yeah.
so we are gonna do our sprint, our silent sprint. So I don't know, if you want to actually read during these, um,
Who would do that?
I know some people might know. All right, so we will see you guys back in half an hour.
All right. Hello.
Excuse me, as my stack of books just tumbles to its death. Hello.
Hello. I'm trying to decide if I should unmute or not because my youngest has decided that life is not fair.
Oh no.
Oh no, that's the worst.
So if it's too much, the screaming is too much, I can mute. She's just she found out her sister got gum while at her friend's house today.
Oh no.
And she didn't get gum, so
That'll do it.
life is horrible and unfair.
Yep.
I was in line the other day and there was this like dad with 2 kids in front of me, and there was a little girl who was like, she wanted like gum or something, and he said like, well, no, you're getting this other thing, you can't get both things, and she was just like, you're not my dad anymore.
Yeah, like, how dare you?
Yeah, and he even did like a, how about I'll get gum and you can have some of mine, and she was like, no.
Wow. Not negotiating. Like
Not good enough.
Nope.
It's very hard being 8.
Yeah.
Or any age, really.
Yeah.
Any age, really.
It's true though.
Yeah, sometimes, I think just the gum changes over your life, but the feeling doesn't necessarily.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I mean, there are times when I want something other people have, and it's like, well, I wish I could cry about it too sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Like, I would like to throw a tantrum and just scream as loud as I can, and yeah. I can't, and it sucks. Like,
I don't know. Okay, so I needed to take a break from cutting because I'd only cut out 28 and my hand was already starting to cramp, and I was like, okay. Yeah. But now I have to remember how to do this. Picking up like an old project, I'm like, oh no.
Oh, I know. It's like having to reteach, like, because a lot of times part of the problem is that I don't remember exactly where I was at in the pattern, but sometimes even if I do, it's like I still don't have that muscle memory yet of like what, like, especially if it's a technique or a stitch that I'm not as familiar with. It's like I don't remember what it feels like to do this right. So yep, always a learning curve getting back into it.
I feel like a lot of times relearning how to do something is harder than learning it the first time, because like I did that a few years ago. I had like started taking musical lessons again, and it was more difficult to relearn than to learn the first time, because it's like when you're learning the first time, your expectation of your ability is much more reasonable, like to what your actual skill level is. But if you were like, well, my skill level used to be up here, but it's atrophied to down here, so my expectation is up here, my ability is down here now. And that is really annoying.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I usually think of relearning as being easier, but if you factor in like expectations, that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess it can be easier in some ways. Like when I started taking musical lessons again, like I didn't have to relearn like technique or something like that, because that was like muscle memory. Well, I don't read music, but
okay.
But I didn't have, but like technique is something that I have as like muscle memory at this point, so I didn't have to relearn that. But like, but yeah, maybe that's true. Sometimes relearning things can be easier. There are certain times where I feel like it's harder because my expectation is higher. And I'm just like, I just want to be able to do whatever I want, like I used to be able to do.
Yeah. So, okay, so my problem is that, so it had been like knit to the last 3 stitches, and then it was like repeat last row 5 more times, and I have little dash marks, but did I count the first one, or am I counting 5 more with my dashes? And that's my problem. Is it's been long enough. I don't know if I included the first one in my dashes. And it's too tiny for me to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that situation, I don't know what you did. Normally, the way I would count it is I don't count the first one because that was a separate, and then I start counting when they say, and then do that 5 more times, and that's where I start counting. But yeah, that's just how I normally do it.
Which is how I would think that I would have done it. So I'm gonna go with that. And I guess you know what, this is small enough that
might be 1 row off.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
I hate trying to figure out past Kara's notes.
Right. Yeah.
Past Kara, always so confident that I will definitely remember what this means.
Yeah.
Usually wrong.
Well, that was my problem picking this back up because it's been a while and I was like, oh God, I hope I remember what I'm doing. The thing is, though, on the edge, I was like, oh no, I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was doing it wrong and now I'm doing it right. Oh. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to go back and fix the part that's wrong, but I'm glad that this time I interpreted the directions differently and correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't know how if you can see that, like, on the edge right here, that it's like a little bit more rough. And then up here, it has this nicer edge. That's because I started doing it right.
Okay. I mean, my thing is, unless you have a real close talker in your life, people are not going to be that close to you to be able to notice if you have
well, again, this is the type of thing that, like, if I had been making this for somebody else, I might have ripped back to fix it. Yeah. For myself, I don't think it's that big a deal. No one's going to notice.
Yeah.
No one but me would probably notice that detail. And if they do, like, that's their problem.
It really is.
Be that close. All right, I'm going to mute you to watch this video so I can remember how to slip tree with yarn in front.
When I used to, when I was in like college, I used to have a lot of times where like friends of mine would be like, do you think someone will notice this, this, and this? And I was like, first of all, I don't think they'll notice. And if they do, then you smack them. Because why are they looking so close? And that's rude that they said something about it.
Yeah, yeah. Get out of my face.
Right. And then people would always laugh and they'd be like, okay, it's fine, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you looking so close? And also very rude that you even mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Solid advice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really condone smacking people anymore, but that wasn't
anymore.
That's a little more violent in my youth. I don't know.
You my lovely Frankencloth.
Lovely. I love it.
Okay, I came back and you guys weren't talking, so I'm like, did I miss something?
Oh, no.
I just finished talking more of the same thing about like, why are you looking so close?
Yeah.
If anyone notices.
And I did show off my Franken.
Oh, yeah.
My Frankencloth. So that was good.
Okay. I had set this project aside because it's like a really long strip, and so it gets boring.
Yeah. Yep. I remember we were talking on one of our other sprints about like, I guess just projects in general and how you'll have like stretches that are like interesting but like more complicated, so you need to focus, and then it's like it can be a nice break when you get to a nice easy stretch, but then it's like within a couple rows I'm like, okay, I'm bored again. Like I want to switch back. I want to do something more interesting, even if it's harder.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, I'm usually more of a one project at a time kind of person, but I have thought, like, there are a few projects that I want to do eventually that are either, like, all over color work or all over, you know, cabling or something like that. And I was like, if I ever do those, I will probably have to have a second project that is just like straight plain stockinette so that I can take breaks, because
Yes.
sometimes, like, in general, for me, I am not like a zone out kind of knitter. Like, I want to have some amount of like something I'm focusing on, but once in a while you need a break and just like zone out and do some stockinette and just don't do anything else.
Yep.
So yeah, in that case, I would need 2 projects going. I think after I finish this hood, I probably will start a little like a little cowl to go with I have it next to me, this sweater that I made.
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah. So I really like that last time I was working on attaching the one for the green sweater, and so I want to make one to go with the black and gold sweater so that can have like a little turtleneck too. And originally I wanted to do like a striped one where it was like the knits were black and the pearls were gold or something like that. But I don't have enough of the gold yarn left, and so I was like, I don't really want to buy more to do this little like side project. I have leftover black, but yeah.
I like the idea that all your sweaters are just like gradually turning into onesies. Like they have like a hood and then like a cowl or a scarf.
Yeah, I'll make some detachable pants next. And...
Yeah.
I think that's cool though, and it makes a lot of sense to have like customizable accessories like that. That's very cool.
Yeah. When I was doing my like Q4 crafting wrap up, I was talking about like, my hood, another detachable like accessory to go with things, so I can just add hoods to whatever I want.
When you want hoods, but you don't want commitment.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes hoods are useful. And they're very... Also, the thing that I like about hoods also is that I feel like they squish your hair less than hats.
Yeah.
And also it's easier to like wear them in such a way that they like kind of end here and they don't squish your bangs. Like obviously you could wear beanies in like the old hipster way where it's like you wear it halfway back, which I used to do a lot, when I was in college, but I'm like, that's not really my vibe anymore.
I was thinking like when we started today and you guys were talking about like making hats and stuff, I was thinking about how there are a few hats that I really like the design of, but I don't feel like I am adept enough at wearing hats yet. Cause like, I think a big part of it is my hair just does not like hats. Like it gets frizzy so easly.
And you could line the hat. I've seen people
That's true.
I saw someone make like more like a balaclava kind of hood, and they lined it in satin so it wouldn't rub their hair.
I might have to do that.
You might have to hand sew for that though.
I know. Trying to trick me into learning a new craft. No. Diabolical.
You need more hobbies. Yeah.
That is a good idea though. I should consider that. Sure, cuz
depending on how this turns out, I might make more of these because I like the idea of having like little hoods that can go with things.
Yeah.
And I like detachable things because I feel like I get hot very easily, so it's a nice thing to be able to be like, well, I don't have to take off the whole sweater. I could just be like, I don't need the extra like, turtleneck part. So, but it does get pretty cold sometimes here. It's weirdly warm right now, but it'll probably get cold again. It did snow. It was really nice earlier today. I took Merlin for a walk and it was beautiful outside. And then it snowed randomly in the afternoon. And it's like, what's happening?
Fun.
Yeah.
just wondering if I am doing this correctly. But
I hate when it's like a project where you have either like you do something on the left side and then you do it on the right side, or like anything where you repeat like that. I hate finding out halfway through that I was doing something wrong. And so now I have to decide, am I going to deliberately do the other side wrong? Or am I going to do it right and risk it not matching? Or am I going to rip back and redo both of that? Like, dilemma. And like any option makes me mad. So it's like, not a great thing.
Right. Unless it's like horribly ugly, I usually choose now we just do it wrong on both sides.
Yeah, that's a lot of times that's what I do as well, especially if it's something where like it's not, from what I can tell from the pattern, it's more like this is how the person wrote it, but it's not crucial to the finished item, you know? It's like
yeah.
Okay, random question. Do you guys mark which one's your right side and which one's your wrong side, or do you just know?
I don't knit a lot of flat things. So when I was doing this, I did not pay attention to which was the right side and the wrong side. I just knit and then eventually picked a side and was like, this is the right side.
Yeah. So. I mark it when it matters, basically. Because I still don't feel super confident about like reading my knitting.
Yeah.
Like there are some things that I'm like quite able to do now, and it's not a big deal. But sometimes I'm working on a project where the front and the back look very similar, but also it's very important that you don't mix them up. And so when that happens, I will usually do, a lot of times they'll even say this at the beginning of the pattern. It's like they'll say put a stitch marker that shows where the front is.
Yeah.
So I guess in answer to your question, Kelly, I need a little extra help to keep track of it when it matters.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and put a stitch marker because I am not great at reading my knitting, which is the problem, obviously, of not knowing where I was, that I have a hard time reading.
Yeah.
And this, I don't normally work flat, but this project is a work flat. So
yeah. It also depends like what stitch are you doing, because if you're doing stockinette, it's much easier to tell, obviously, but like garter
because they're different.
There's really no difference.
Yeah, which this is stockinette, so you would think it'd be obvious, but I'm just gonna put it in, and if I find that I'm not even looking at it, then I can always just take it out.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to do it. Yeah.
It's so frustrating when the instructions are like, oh, if you forget, then just do this trick. And it's like, if it's something like a yarn over, that's pretty easy usually to see. But if they're like, look at how this gap between two stitches is slightly bigger than the gap between these other stitches. And I'm like, that doesn't help me, but thank you for trying. Like, what were you going to say, Huck? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just say this is not related to reading your stitches. It's just like something you said earlier. I don't even remember what it was, but made me think, you know what I should also do is I feel like this sweater would be really cute with like a hood to turn this into a hoodie. I should make a little detachable hood that matches this. So then I could like have a little hoodie sweater. That would be fun.
Operation One continues.
And well, so I'll have like one option that's like turn it into a turtleneck and one that's like turn it into a hoodie. But really like cool. I'm making a hood, so I will know how to make a hood. I could make not the triangle part, just the hood part, and then figure out and like attach it the same kind of way as I am with the turtleneck, and then I could have a little hoodie.
Yeah. Are you doing buttons or how are you attaching
to attach it? Yeah. Actually, I'll show you on the green one what I ended up doing, because the last time we were doing this, I was sewing buttons. So what I ended up doing, I'll show you, hold on, to like undo it so you can see it better. So the green sweater, has a folded collar. So along that seam, I did just a row of single crochet because the single crochet has holes in it. And then the buttons that I was sewing last time, they're pushed through they're pushed through this. And so then I just like put it, hold on. Now I have to like look at this more closely. I can put the other side of the button through one of the gaps in the single crochet.
Yeah.
And so then on the inside, what it looks like on the inside, it's like this.
Mm-hmm.
And on the outside, it is just like layered under the collar,
so
and it's
cool.
like attached like that.
Yeah.
And then when you fold down the collar, it just totally covers it, and you can't even like really tell that it's
Nice.
another one. So I think that one turned out pretty well. It might be a little harder to cover up the seam with if it's not like a turtleneck where it folds down, covers the seam naturally. So if I do a hoodie, it might be more obvious, but I still think it would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe that'll be my next thing. That also, I think I like that concept of, since I'm not usually big on making accessories, but those are like small accessory kind of projects, but they're still like part of a larger sweater. So I'm not just like, I'm making 20 hats or something. I'm like, no, this is like a part of this sweater, just happens to be detachable.
Yeah.
But I still get a little tiny project to work on.
Yeah.
You can feel accomplished.
Yeah. Although I might have to end up buying a little bit more yarn if I want to do that, because I have enough to do a little turtleneck, but I don't have enough to also do a hood. But this was actually made out of pretty inexpensive yarn, so I don't think that's going to be a big problem.
Repeat last two rows 19 times. Oh my gosh, this is going to get boring.
That's, if you have something like that where it's like you have to repeat 2 rows 19 times, do you count it every time you repeat the 2 rows, or do you count like every row that you're doing?
I would normally count them both together, unless the instructions have like, I feel like I've seen examples where it has suggested doing it the other way, and so I try to take clues from that. Like, but having no other information, I would generally take that as repeat both of them together. But yeah, I hate when it's ambiguous like that. Like,
well, I would normally, like, so if it's like row 1 and row 2, I would normally put my check marks next to row 1, and like, and that way when I have finished both a row 1 and a row 2,
right,
starting back on row 1 again, get a check. But if I were to be like interrupted, because it's a long, like this is like taking up my entire 32-inch needle, so that's long. So if I get interrupted in the middle of 2, then I would probably need to feel like I needed to maybe, I would come up with something where I put like either a dot or something, and that means I'm still
halfway done. Yeah,
I'm in like row 2 instead of like row 1 or something. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alternatively, somebody tries to interrupt you and you're like, wait, I need to get this.
I must finish both rows, but there's sometimes you can't finish both rows. So then it's like,
I know.
Yeah. So I think I've done it when I had like a repeat that was like 5 rows long. I did put checks for each. No, I didn't. I still only did the check on the first, but I had a Post-it note, and I would move the Post-it note down. So it was like highlighting the one that I was on at that moment.
Yeah.
What do you normally do, Huck? Are you still figuring that out?
Oh, sorry. No, I was suddenly looking for where I put my phone because I need to check how long am I supposed to be doing this? Okay. Okay, good. It says 23 centimeters. I am at like 7 centimeters, so that is, I got time. I think in most cases I would probably count like, yeah, I usually have like a or like one of these little things that I count on.
Yeah.
And I would count like the 2 rows. Like when I completed 2 rows, I would count it. But if I had to pause, I probably would then mark on the pattern. Like I would circle or put like a little arrow next to like row 2 to be like, I am on row 2 repeat, so I don't start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with like my the color work that I'm doing, sometimes I'll put like an arrow pointing at which row in the color chart I'm on so I don't forget. Also, I've created craziness for myself because I changed the color chart. And so I had to like rewrite the entire thing.
Oh my gosh.
But that's because here's the thing. So I'm making the sweater. It's for my mom. She wants a boat neck. And so we picked a design that has a boat neck. And I did a mid-project block because I got to the end of the color, or just almost the end of the color work. And I was like, I need to block this to see like where it's at. And then the neckline was I think it was too wide. It wasn't like clownishly wide, but it was like, this doesn't seem right. And
this is like a yacht instead of a boat.
Right.
Yacht neck talk.
And so I was asking, she was trying it on, and I was like, okay, like, do you feel like this is too wide? Do you want me to like redo it? And she was like, what happens if I say yes? And I was like, well, then I have to restart the whole thing. And I was like, that's fine. I'm fine doing that. I'm not upset about it. Like, this is a gift. I want it to be what you'll actually wear. And like, you know, I'm not mad about it. And she was like, no, I think it's fine. Like all of this. And then there were a bunch of things that I was like, you know what? Things I wanted to change. Like after blocking it, I was like, you know what? I'm realizing there are some mistakes in the color work. And I actually want to kind of change some things about the color work so it sits differently. I was like, so if I did rip back and restart, would you want me to make the collar smaller? And she was like, oh yeah, like that's your decision, but if you're going to do it anyway, sure, make it a little smaller. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to like read between the lines of like supportive mom language to be like, okay, but you do want this, right? Like,
right. So I ended up I restarted, you know, I like undid everything, put it into like a hank again, washed it, dried it so it would get all the kinks out, rewound it, start the whole thing again. But I also am like changing the color work chart a little bit because one of the things about the like yoke color work is I don't like it. And she also, I think things that my mom has said, I'm like, what you're talking about is this situation. You just don't know like the terms for it. But I don't like it when the color work portion ends when the yoke ends. Mm-hmm. I prefer when the color work goes down onto the body and onto the sleeve. I think that I just like how it looks better. And I think it also looks better depending on like what body type you have. Personally, I feel like it looks better on like me and will look better on my mom, to have the color work to like split for sleeves before the color work ends so that it goes down onto the body. But that means I need to extend the color work so that it goes down far enough. So I'm not drastically changing it, but I had to add in a few rows to kind of extend it, which then just kind of shifts where things are. So I bought some graph paper so I could rewrite this. And I like rewrote the color chart. And then what I've been doing is for this one, I've like rewrote each line individually so I could like look at it all together more easily. Anyway, that's been my whole process so far.
Yeah.
I feel like you what amazes me about you is that you technically are still a beginner because you just started knitting
Yeah.
like a year ago, but you were like, I'm a beginner that's just gonna like do whatever I want, and I'm gonna change everything about this pattern.
Like, I'm gonna redo a color chart. I'm gonna make like 14 sweaters. Like,
Well, like great. I don't know. I find that very brave because like, and that's
Oh, thank
probably
you.
you are. I feel like that's the difference between like you being more of the creative, free flowing, and me being like, I'm not like type A, but I'm definitely like, if I change it, it's not gonna turn out right. It's gonna like this is. I'm always like worried that if I make a change, but you know, you gotta make it. But part is the part of knitting your own clothing or for
Right.
other people is to like specialize it to what you want.
Yeah. I think I am very motivated by like, well, I want what I want, so I'm gonna do
Yeah.
what I gotta do to make it be what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I also personally just have a lot of patience for redoing things because I was also like, well, if I messed up my color chart and it looks bad, I will rip it back and then do it the way the chart said to do it the right way.
Yeah. That's a
yeah.
really good quality to have because I do not have patience for redoing stuff. So I have to like make patience in other areas, like going very slow or like
Yeah.
like if it's like something that I think I want to change, like doing that, and if possible having like being able to check if I like it before committing to doing the entire project that way. So
Yeah.
I do not have patience for redoing stuff, especially like longer things or like bigger projects. Like
Yeah. I think also, I mean, part of the difference to me is also like coming from something like sewing, it is much harder to go back and fix something in sewing because like a lot of stuff, once you cut that fabric, there you can't fix it. If there's a cut there, it's really hard to fix that. Whereas like anything like knitting, you just like in most cases you just rip it out and you do it again. You haven't disrupted the materials, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas like with sewing, there are so many times that I've got the thing that is frustrating to me is that I'm like, I had a finite amount of fabric. I made the wrong cut. I cannot fix this.
Yeah. That is the hardest thing. I had that recently where I had this like really pretty fabric and I cut it 1/4 of an inch off, which you are quilting matters.
Yeah. Quilting that's also I never really got into quilting, so like that is too much precision for me.
Yeah.
I like things that I can kind of wing it and be like, it's fine.
Yeah. And so then it's like, well, I can't do the block because the block can't be the right size unless I like increase the size of a different piece of, but then it won't look the same as all the other blocks.
Right. And like the lines won't line up correctly and like, oh, yeah.
It's so, yeah, at least this you can make mistakes a lot easier when you can rip back. I have this like where, so I made a headband. Well, you've seen it, the purple one that I've been working on forever.
Yeah.
I finally finished it.
Yay.
But the problem is,
yay!
It's okay. So the way that it told me to bind off, I didn't understand. So when we had that craft night over Christmas, I had some other knitters help me, and I think they steered me a little wrong because it's not stretchy the way it should, like on that end.
Oh, okay.
So I did block it so that it would give a little more stretch, but I can't wear it. My older daughter is like, it's a little tight. My youngest, so then I'm like, do I take it out? But then you know how long it took me to make this thing that I'm like really feeling like taking it out would like crush my soul. Like,
yeah.
Well, if it's gonna crush your soul, maybe not. But
yeah. Is there any way that you could like thread either some yarn or like a needle like through it right before the end, and so you unwind it just to that point? So I've done that before.
Yeah, is it just the bind off that's the problem?
Yeah, but my problem is that because it was like held double and it was like, what's the fluffy stuff?
Mohair.
Yeah, it's really hard to find the end. So I feel like if that I might not, I mean, I guess it still could, it might not go back too far, but like, I feel like I would have a hard time finding the exact like thing to cut
Yeah.
that
Mohair
doesn't
is
Yeah.
kind of a bitch to unwind. Like,
yeah, and the fact that they're like mixed together in a twisted rib, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be such a pain to undo
yeah.
it. That
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe I should just let my 8-year-old wear it, even though it was supposed to be meant for my almost 11-year-old whose head is too big to wear it.
Listen, if it helps at all, I have multiple times had to shuffle gifts around when something like that happened. So
Yeah,
I get it.
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, and the funny thing is, okay, while I was knitting it, you know how, it took me a long time to do this thing because I hated the ribbing. And, when I started this project, she kept me like, when is it going to be done? When are we going to be done? But then like in the last like month or so, she's been like, I don't know if I'll wear it. And so then it was like, oh, how do I even want to finish this thing? And then I finish it. And it isn't really like what it should be. And then now I'm just like, do I hate this thing? And I should just give it to some other child just so I don't have to look at it. But I think my younger one can wear it. It's just turned into a whole frustration thing.
Yeah. I remember there was one scarf that I was working on for so long because it was kind of wide. And obviously scarves are long anyway. And the yarn was like the single ply, like I had gotten it before I knew the kind of yarn I liked to use. So it split constantly because it wasn't really twisted, or it was like barely twisted. And it was the most infuriating thing to use. And this was such a big project and it took me so long, and it came out beautiful. Like I was really happy with how it looked, but I'm like, I never want to look at this thing again. So I gifted it to a friend who I knew would wear it, and she loved it. So it was a good gift, but it was like the exact same kind of thing where it's like, I put so much work into this, but it was such an unpleasant experience that I'm like, I'm done. Like I got what I needed out of it. I would be so happy not having to look at this.
Yeah, and I'm just like, if I were to unwind it, then I'd have to like use that yarn again, and I think I just hate it in my mind, where at least like I learned something from this process. I learned that I do not like twisted rib in more than like inch amounts, like like if you're gonna do twisted rib on like ribbing, fine. On a whole project, no. And then like that I would want to be very specific about like picking things where I put mohair in, like holding it simple. And also like I would have, if I had known going in, because even the people there, they're like, why did she have you do a normal cast on? Because why wouldn't if she have you do a provisional cast on, which would have been easier to then finish off? Because even what was around the pattern, everybody, I had like 5 experienced knitters there, and they're like, I don't fully understand what she's trying to tell you to do to make it stretchy.
Yeah, that's validating at least.
Yeah. So like what ended up happening did not make it stretchy enough. But I don't know if it's because of what they told me to do or if it was my initial cast on. Like maybe my cast on was just too tight.
What was the cast off that you used? Like what did you end up doing?
Well, I ended up not really casting off. I ended up sewing it together, seaming it together as I was like taking it off the needles. Which is
kind of like, how did you seam it? Like what kind of stitch did you use?
I just went back and forth, like in and out of the, because it folded up. So like basically, you make it like, 7 inches and then fold it together. And then I just sewed back and forth and then took a stitch off, sewed back and forth, took a stitch off,
So did you do like Kitchener stitch?
Yeah. So I think that's what they called it. Kitchener. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's what made it tight or if it was actually the cast on, like the original cast.
Yeah. I for a long time had a problem where my cast on or cast off would often be too tight for something I needed to do with the project. And obviously this doesn't help once you've already done it, but I've like when I was doing socks especially, and the pattern even said is like, if you find that you cast on too tightly, cast onto 2 needles that you're holding together. And so then when you slide one out, it's like a reasonable amount of ease. But like it's really hard to like adjust that in the middle of a project. So my sympathies.
Well, and I know that I'm a tight cast on, and so that's why I think I might, if I need to do things that are more stretchy, I wonder if I need to like cast on a bigger needle to begin with,
right?
And then move to the regular size, because I just do cast on tight. I don't know.
Yeah,
I do everything tight. I'm always like probably being too stressed. Well,
yeah. And there's even like small variations in like very similar cast on styles. There are still some ways that naturally make it a little looser, which I didn't know for the longest time, because I learned how to cast on essentially one way and it always worked. So I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I don't need to learn anything else. And then I ended up finding later that if I do the, what do they call it? I think they call it cable cast on, which is a little weird, but it's like instead of doing the knitted cast on where it's like you're kind of knitting, but then you just put the stitch back instead. The cable cast on is like you put the needle in between the two stitches, you wrap around that, and then you put the stitch on the needle. So you're like, you're using one needle in between the stitches instead of doing like a fake knit stitch, if that makes any sense. And so I found that kept it looser. So I try to do that now. But yeah, it's like a long learning process of like figuring out.
Yeah. I recently learned also how to do like a tubular cast on, which I liked that one. That one's more complicated to like do initially, but I really like the end result of it. Especially to me, if you're like casting on like a collar that's not going to be a folded collar, it just makes the edge look a lot cleaner and it's very stretchy.
Yeah. Well, I think I need to learn just more cast-ons like to make stretchy, because there's times like obviously if it's going to go around your head like a headband, you want it to be able to stretch. Like
there was I learned a cast off for this one on the sleeve because I cast off and then I was like, this is not stretchy enough. And I was like looking for stretchy cast offs, and there is one that's called it's something like Jenny's surprisingly stretchy cast off or something.
I've used that one.
Yeah, so I learned to do that one for this so that it would stretch, because it was like not stretchy enough.
Yeah, which is actually what I think was originally what the pattern was calling for. I mean, it didn't say specifically that one, but it was like it was because it was like it was attaching. It was like bring up the stitch from your cast on and then bind off with a super stretchy bind off at the same time. And I think it was just and it was like asking you to stay in the ribbing, so it's like how do you go back and forth? It was like
I also wonder sometimes with that, like if there's a way to do some kind like a crochet kind of because crochet is kind of naturally stretchy, and so I always am wondering, like, I wonder if I could do some kind of like crochet sort of cast off to instead of sometimes I just use a crochet hook for things anyway, because I'm just like trying to pick something up with a straight knitting needle is not easy.
That's true.
Well, if I were to do another headband, I wouldn't do this pattern, so I would be interested in doing another headband, because like we've talked about before, sometimes you don't want to mess your hair up completely with a hat, but you want to keep your ears warm. So I might do it something else that's just not
I made a few, this was like a while ago now, but that I really liked that were like they might have even been called like bun hats or something, where it was like a little bit bigger than an ear warmer, but definitely smaller than a hat. And there was like a big hole in the middle so that you could have your hair up. And I have like a lot of hair. So that was nice because I felt like I could keep a little warm, but without having to sacrifice like my hair or anything else like that.
I hate wearing a hat when I have my hair in a ponytail. Like a beanie hat. So it would be helpful to have something like that. Or
it was really nice. I'll see if I can find the pattern for it. I remember it being pretty easy. But yeah, I liked doing that. Natalie is saying she finished what she wanted to do today.
Yay.
Has to decide how to present and package them. Don't think I'll post it publicly because it's a personal gift, but I definitely will post future collages. Yes, I would love to see that. I totally get that though about personal gifts. That's awesome. I'm so excited that you got to craft today. That's a really cool gift to give to somebody as well. Very personal. And I think I'm actually like at the halfway point of my little dishcloth. So
Nice.
that's cool. Very interesting color scheme, but that's okay. It'll still work the same.
Did you ever? I guess you said you would finish some things, but you didn't say. Like, did you say what you were reading currently?
Oh, I didn't really. I mean, I did mention that I'm still reading Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
So that is like the ongoing reading project that I'm focusing on, which I feel like I've been complaining about it a lot when I bring it up in our chats. But it isn't bad. Like, there are parts that are really funny or really interesting. Like, there are parts I really like about it. I think it's kind of cool that it's like this Victorian man who wrote like Gaslight, Gatekeep, Girl Boss. Like, because Becky Sharp is like 100% that. Like, Becky Sharp is that description completely. And so that's fun from like a historical or classics point of view. It's just extremely long, and there are some sections where I'm like, I literally don't care. Like, I don't care. I don't care about this person. I don't care about like the hierarchy of this regiment. Please stop it. Yeah, but I'm reading that, and I'm trying to actually decide what I want to pick up in between reading Vanity Fair, because there's a couple things I'm in the middle of, but for various reasons, I don't feel like picking those up. And so I'm like, this would be a good opportunity to read another short thing. So I haven't decided yet. Maybe like a novella. I feel like there's a lot of like fantasy novellas, especially by indie authors, that I could pick from. Yeah, that's not really an answer, but that's sort of like where things are right now. I could read one of the plays I have that I haven't read yet.
Yeah, I have some plays I need to read this month.
Yeah, I'm very excited to hear what you think of Gaslight, if that is one that you end up picking up. And like I mentioned, actually, I think I gave you the movie because you already had the play. The movie's very good. Different in some ways, but I think it's worth watching. So yeah, it's an interesting play. I'm trying to think. What else? I could also read. I do want to read some poetry during the month, but I feel like I always have this tendency to read poetry quicker than I should. Like, I have to concentrate and force myself to slow down because I get more out of it if I read it slower, and I need to remind myself of that. So maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, I agree. I have a book of poetry I want to read, but I need to remember that I like to pace it out. Like, only read like one or two poems a day, so that I can just kind of like, maybe like with breakfast. Maybe I should do that. Put it on the table for breakfast so that I just like read a poem to start the day.
Yeah,
That'd be nice.
That would be nice. Yeah, there's been a couple poetry books that I did that. Like, I would read like right before bed. So I'd read like one or two to sort of like end the day, and that was really nice. And that was a way to like kind of force myself to pace it, which worked out really well for me. Yeah.
I'm reading well, like I said, I started a couple things, but I'm reading Psychopomp and Circumstance by Eden Royce.
Oh yeah.
Which I am really liking because I really liked her middle grade that I read, and
Mm-hmm.
so I think that she'd been doing middle grade, like a few middle grade, and this is like a return to adult for her after a few years of middle grade, and I'm really liking it so far.
I forgot that she wrote adult, so that's super interesting. I might have to add that one to my list. That looks super cool.
Yeah, it hasn't gotten like sounds like it could get creepy. So far it hasn't, but it's like an interesting world because it's like kind of alternate history. Like it seems like it's happening in like the 1860s, and like all the characters so far have been black, but they're free people. But it just seems like a different reality because there's like hippocampy animal, whatever those are, animals,
Yeah.
part mermaid, part horse, and then there's like yeah, there's all this kind of stuff that I'm like, okay, so it's set in this like reconstruct, that's what it was called, right? The Reconstruction?
Yeah, Reconstruction was right after the Civil War.
Yeah, so it's like set in Reconstruction time following black families, and there are mythical creatures. So I'm not fully knowing what's happening in the world yet.
Yeah.
But sounds interesting. And I know like with her middle grade, she brought in a lot of oh, what is that culture? That
Gullah Geechee?
Yeah. So I feel like there's gonna be some like hints and some creepy things, like based off of like the cover and the like things that kind of like discussing kind of like haunted type things. So I think that kind of stuff will come in. But
Yeah.
so far the writing is really excellent though.
Yeah. Well, thank you for reminding me that she has a couple other books that have come out recently.
Yeah, because what was the one I read that was so good? It was one of her first middle grade.
Was it Root Magic?
Yeah, Root Magic. That was an excellent book. Like
I loved that one as well. I still need to read more by her, but I loved that one too.
Yeah. And then the other one I'm reading, I don't know whether you would call it novella or a short novel, but it's the Kate DiCamillo Beatrice Prophecy. I think it came out.
Yeah. That was an interesting one, but I really liked it. It was weird. Like I don't know. Interesting book, but I enjoyed it a lot.
So I'm like I said, I'm just starting all that, and then I'm reading like a fairy tale collection. I'm reading Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales, which my goodness, some of those are messed up. Like some of them are popular but messed up.
They are so, like. Have you read the like Little Mermaid?
Yeah, that was in the first of this, and I was like, "What?"
Depressing AF. Like,
yeah, and I knew it was like I knew people always talk about how it's like real, like the original was really depressing, but this I was like, "Whoa, dude, you like really like went there."
Yeah, yeah. It's like even when you're used to like if you've read. Like, I know you have read other fairy tales, like older fairy tales, and so, like, we know that they were, like, way more messed up than popular versions, but there's still some where it's like, oh, okay, like, even more than I thought.
Yeah. Well, and I just had read, these are, like, the Mina Lima versions, and I just read the, like, Brothers Grimm one. So, yeah, I knew they were, like, harsher, but this was, like, worse than some of the Brother Grimm's one. I was like, man.
Yeah.
That was harsh. And then there was another one that like Little Match Girl, which I had heard of that story but never read it, and I'm like, well, that's devastating.
That's brutal. Like, I mean, points I guess for like critiquing the like wealth inequality, but oh my god, like
you're like, okay, I didn't know that was what I was getting into. And then there was one that I had never heard of. I had never heard of The Red Shoes. Have you ever heard of The Red Shoes?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was like, were you on acid when you wrote that? Like, oh my
Isn't that actually like loosely based on a historical event where that's the one with the dancing,
Yes.
right?
The
yeah.
dancing plague.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it like
But
And there
Strasbourg
actually
or
was something that's like, isn't it still a
Mhm.
mystery exactly what happened? But it is kind of
Yeah.
based.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
and like
there's
yeah. And that part wasn't the messed up part. The part was like the how she got out of dancing.
yes. Yeah. Well, and like even some of the like I don't think it was Brothers Grimm, but maybe it was the like Sleeping Beauty version that is like
Mhm.
considered the original, even though like obviously fairy tales there's a lot of
Mhm.
like crossover and stuff. I don't remember if it was Brothers Grimm, but like whoever wrote the original version of that one, I'm like, you need help. Like that is like so messed up. Like that she got woken up because she was like assaulted and like gave birth to
Mhm.
twins. And it's wild, truly. Like
I don't
there
remember.
were choices made.
I can't remember who was the original, but yeah, it was like definitely a lot more essay than I
And
was.
just like very casually of like, oh, this is how we get to the next plot point. Like yeah, Rapunzel's like that too.
Yeah, Rapunzel was messed up because I read that one in the because that was in the Brothers Grimm one, right?
Yeah,
I
I
shouldn't
think
have
so.
put it right back to back. But the brother, when I read Rapunzel, I was like, oh, so he is just going up there, and of course, she's been away her whole life, so she doesn't
Like
know
she's
anything about
literally
men.
never yeah, literally never met another person. And
Yeah.
like there are still I have read a lot of fairy tale retellings, obviously, and there are still some that like sort of try to go along with some of the original fairy tale stuff. And I'm like, like, no, that's like they try and like portray it like, no, but like he really loves her. And I'm like, she does not understand consent.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
there is no consent because she doesn't know what she's consenting to. Like this is just so
That's
messed
why it's
up. Like you
called
can't
informed consent.
exactly. It's like
Yeah.
you can't just like gloss over that part. Like he fully knew what was happening and she did not. That is not a way to start a romance for the reader to be invested in. Like
Yeah. I was like, you need to at least like explain to her what's gonna happen and that she's gonna have the kids come out of her body. Like you can't just like yeah.
yeah. Oh man, so messed up.
Yeah. A lot of these fairy tales I was like, woo, but yeah, and now I'm in the Snow Queen and I was like,
Mm,
that one's pretty harsh too. I'm like, man,
yeah.
I
It's
I
like
guess
who hurt you, Hans? Like,
yeah. What? I think you maybe needed therapy. Like
I think you no, honestly, like from like there's a couple biographies of him that I want to read and I haven't yet. So I've just sort of picked up bits and pieces here and there, but like I really do think he was going through some things like
Yeah.
I remember reading a long time ago and I can't find the reference anymore. So I don't know if this has maybe been like disproved or, what. But I remember reading a long time ago that like the Little Mermaid story, for example, was based on or like inspired by him falling in love with this young woman who was a ballet dancer and she was marrying like somebody in like the peerage or something who wouldn't let her dance anymore and that's sort of like where that story like where those themes came from. But like I said, I haven't been able to find that reference again, so I don't know if it's like debunked. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean there's definitely some things that he went through.
Well, and I know that, like you said, some of these are passed down folk tales and stuff like that. So, like, a lot of that was like to teach kids. It
Yeah,
was like extreme to teach kids, don't do this thing because this
yeah,
horrible thing is going to happen to you. But,
right.
whew,
Yeah. Well, and like some of them I can understand a lot more. Like Hansel and Gretel, it's like, yeah, don't wander off into the woods by yourself, like as like small
Yeah.
children. Like that makes sense. But some of them, it's like, what was the message here? Like Sleeping Beauty, like what were you warning kids of specifically? Like how does this story like help keep them safe from something? Um,
yeah.
yeah, wild.
I don't know. But
It's
kind of interesting, especially like reading these with the beautiful, like, because like these are like beautifully illustrated. I'm like, these are
yeah,
like some really depressing stories that are very beautifully illustrated.
yeah, yeah. It's like the most depressing thing you've ever read, gorgeously illuminated on this other page here. Like, yep.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm reading.
Super fun, light, light and fun reading.
Light fun reading, some like horror, but I mean, at least Eden Royce is entertaining horror.
Yeah. And it was like written like knowing that it's horror. Like a lot of these fairy tales was like, was this like whoever was writing down this edition, were they like conscious of how messed up this was, or were they like, I'm just gonna write a nice little fairy tale with a bit of a moral for the children?
Yeah.
I'm
also like very confused by these Mina Lima editions because like you go to the back and all it says is like author, and it's like talking about the Brothers Grimm or Han Christian Andersen, and then talks about Mina Lima, and I'm like, but who translated this? Like, what version did you get it from? Like, it doesn't mention anything about like, because they weren't writing these in English, so nowhere does it say what version they are using or yeah. So I just think that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is weird. Like, there's a nonfiction book that has been on my list for a while, and of course there's always so many things to read, so I haven't gotten to it yet, but it's about like the story of the Grimm's fairy tales being collected. Like, it's like a semi-biographical, I guess, like it's nonfiction. And like the Grimm brothers, like they were like wandering around like the German countryside, like collecting these tales from like old women. And I get that, like, when you're the first person to collect something, that you kind of get to put your name on it, but it's also just like annoying to think about.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah, that's one of the Grimm fairy tales, and it's like, well, it's not. They stole it from some random old lady and put it in a book. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, it is weird when there's not any information on like translation or like the edition. Like, I was so surprised when we read Phantom of the Opera recently for our classics book club. And I had read it a couple times before, but it had been a while. I was so shocked when I was like looking in my copy to try and figure out who had translated this edition. And it's just like, oh yeah, this is the translation that was made like 100 and something years ago, still anonymous. We don't know who did it. And I'm like, that's bizarre. Like, that is so wild to me that like this fairly well-known book is like this translation is being used so frequently, and it's like we have no idea who did it. Like some random person. Like,
yeah, that's pretty wild. When by now, like, know, like, when, like, does an ancestor not know that their ancestor?
Right.
I don't know. It seems like you would know.
Right. Like, and it's, I mean, that's a very interesting fun fact, and obviously I don't want them to pretend to cite it, but it's so strange, just like the way that it was very matter of fact, like, oh yeah, this is that translation that a lot of people use, and we don't know who did it. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So, yeah. Natalie was talking about seeing the film The Red Shoes, which I have heard great things about it. She says, I don't remember exactly what happened, but it was gorgeous. Yeah, I've heard it's a really pretty one.
Was it a horror film?
Probably. What were you going to say before this, Kelly?
Well, I was going to say I need to get a new audiobook because I got my audiobook stolen by, what's it called? Spotify. It stresses me out because they don't put like the minutes on there, so it took it away with 30 minutes left in the book.
Oh my gosh.
And I had no idea. It just tells you like the rounded hour, but I was like, well, which way? Like, I don't know how much time I have left. And then it just stopped, and I was like,
yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
So I really shouldn't use that for audiobooks, but sometimes, they have ones that are like really long waits at your library. So then I use it for that.
Mm-hmm. That's how they get you.
I know, but I'm not paying for that extra like time. I'm just gonna wait the 7 days to finish the last half hour.
Yeah.
So I gotta figure out what to listen to. Did either of you read The River Has Roots?
I did. Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't I don't think it was necessarily one that left like a huge impression on me, but I think that the writing is very like that author, has very like lovely writing, It feels very fairy tale-esque. Um so I liked it. It's not like a I thought it was like fine. It's not like necessarily a ringing endorsement, but I
Yeah.
thought it was good, So like if you're interested in it.
Did you listen or did you read it? Because I see both that are both good because there's like music in the audiobook.
I listened to the audiobook and yeah, the narrator sings for parts of it. Because there is a lot of the story that's around music and the sisters are singers. So I thought that was cool that she sings. At least I think she does. It's been a while since I listened to it.
Yeah, I had heard from other reviews that they were singing, so I might do both because I have it as well, and I thought there was maybe some illustrations in it, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'll do both together. I don't know. If not that, I don't know what I'm going to listen to.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to find something I wouldn't mind listening to because when I'm like crafting or doing anything like that, and I have not really settled on something. Like there was a period where I was listening to Vanity Fair and I liked the narrator fine. It wasn't that I didn't like the narration, but it felt even slower
Oh.
listening to someone read that. So I was like, okay, I probably should stick with the ebook on this one, but
The one that I haven't, because I'm doing really slow. My best friend, I read like classics, and she doesn't read as much as me, so it takes a long time. And we're reading The Moonstone. I could read it, listen to a couple hours of that, but I do like listening to this one. Reminds me how much I think Wilkie Collins was like a drama queen, and I kind of loved it. Love it. Like, he's just like all about the drama.
Yeah. That's one of the fun things about reading classics is like figuring out you have these opinions about like, from especially like if it's like a Victorian author, like we have a very like rigid conception of like what society was like, and it's like, yeah, but they still had some like weirdos or like some people who were just like in it for the mess, in it for the drama. Like
yeah, he has like this first part of the book was all from one character. It was from like the butler, but he like just says like some of the funniest things, and it's like thrown off like, it's definitely funny and meant to be funny, but it's like thrown out like, well, this is just how it is, but it's like so it catches you off guard with how funny it is.
Yeah. Yep.
But I can only listen to that for like 2 hours because then that's about all she does in a week. So Huck, I didn't comment on your video because I'm horrible at commenting, but
That's fine.
but I watched was it your December wrap up when you talked about the Wild Huntress?
Oh yeah.
Or maybe I did comment. I don't know, but I just bought that book, so luckily you didn't hate it. You just were like,
yeah, I liked it. I mean, I think there are things that maybe could have been better, but I had a good time with it. I'm gonna read more from her, so I hope you like it. You'll have to let me know.
I mean, the cover was just very intriguing, and so I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I want to go back and read the other ones that are set in that world because, like, technically they're supposed to be standalones, but there are some things about the world building that I was like, I feel like I was supposed to have read these other ones.
Mm.
Yeah, and I know I have put other one of her books on my TBR, but this was the first one that like I was like, oh, I want to go buy this now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. The other ones I've kind of kept an eye on her because they look interesting, but I never really I never actually picked anything up, and so
The one
yeah.
from her that I have and that I'm like really excited to read is, now I have to look up what it's called. I can picture the cover, but that doesn't
Is it
help.
the one with the skull or the one with the tree?
I was gonna say
The
is the tree.
Tree, The
Tree.
Drowned
Yeah.
Woods. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one that I really want to read.
Yeah, I'm less interested in the skull one, but I'll probably read it just because like now I'm kind of interested in her world and they're all set in the same world. But that one is more like zombies and the other two are more like foresty. And so I'm like, obviously I'm more into the forest ones. I'm not really a big zombie person.
Well, now I need to see that one because I know I've seen the tree one.
Fuck, unless they were mushroom zombies, then maybe you'd like it.
Right,
Because
right.
you specifically like mushroom horror.
Yeah, hyper specific.
Oh, okay. Then maybe I have seen that cover, but just not as much. I feel like more people have read The Drowned Woods, or maybe they just like to show the pretty cover.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like also the one with the skull may have been her debut, and so I feel like she's kind of picked up steam. Like there are some people
I'm
where it's like their debut makes a splash and that's the one everyone knows, and then there are some where it's like the debut kind of like disappears, but then like people get excited about like their later work.
I'm pretty sure that the skull one was in a book box or something, because I remember a
It might have
period where
been.
like literally everybody was reading and reviewing that one,
Hmm.
and I think almost everyone was like, yeah, it was fine. Like, but it was her later books that actually really interested me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
So it turns out
I
I have read a story from her because she was in His Hideous Heart, the Poe retellings,
oh,
but I
mhm.
don't know which retelling was hers.
oh, that's interesting.
Interesting.
I probably have to head out soon.
I was actually just gonna say we might want to wrap up, but thank you guys as always for hanging out and crafting with
Thank you for
me.
hosting.
Yes, and Huck and Kelly are both already linked in the description. Thank you to anyone who was hanging out with us during the lives. Thank you if you watch these back later. Yeah, we love doing these, so you'll be seeing more of us. Anything to add from you guys?
No, I don't think so.
Nope. I'm once again behind on filming anything or editing, so
Listen, yeah. I am feeling a truly astonishing amount of guilt for that, so I get you.
yeah.
It's been a time. But we'll see. Maybe I can make progress on that before our next one. That could be a very
believe in
small
you.
approachable goal. Thank you. All right. We will
All right.
see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.